What up, world? I am your host, Stevens Ramirez, for Not For Nothing podcast, where we're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You're going to be joining me today as we interview a gentleman who's not only an influential teacher, who not only created a foundation to obtain school supplies for his students, and a father, a husband, a brother, a son, all wrapped into one, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sergio Arteaga. We're going to be diving into certain topics regarding of mental health, fatherhood, family, and education, and the importance of how to navigate as a man. Stay tuned as you enjoy this episode. Take us to the beginning.
How far back?
Oh, well, your family.
Comes to what impacted my journey. So, like I said, I'm the youngest of four. None of my siblings went to college. Not one of them. Not one of them. My parents are immigrants from Mexico. They grew up across the street from each other.
Yeah.
Been together since they were 13, 14 years old. And my dad came out here when I say out here in Los Angeles, 1968, 69, came by himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to, like a lot of our parents, to give us a better opportunity in life.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
My sister started going to school, didn't finish. My brothers weren't interested. That's just the truth. They graduated high school, and that was kind of bad for them.
So I always felt like I was the last chance,
Okay.
for lack of better words.
And how does that, and how being the first, because I'm the first of a lot of things, like, first to graduate on time, first to be married, first to do a lot of things. How is the pressure of being first of all of that?
It's a lot. My first interaction with therapy, right, mental health, was because of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
My brother-in-law was the only one at the time that had gone to college, graduated. So he was someone I was able to look up to, right? My sister's husband.
Yeah.
But outside, and granted, he in many ways has always been like an older brother.
But that was it. That was it. I did get lucky going to a Green Dot school in LA. And I say that because a lot of the teachers not only look like me, right, racially speaking, they were my age. Let me rephrase that. Not my age, but around my age, right? We're talking about like straight out of college. They look like me, and it's one of the first times I saw, whether male or female, that somebody that looks like me can go to school, graduate, be in a professional field.
Ooh.
But the pressure to succeed was high. I'm still feeling the effects of it now. Like as a 37-year-old, I'm still going to doing therapy. So I just started recently, and it's funny because it's a conversation I've had with my therapist like last week.
There was always this fear of failure, right? Fear, and in this particular instance, fear of letting my parents down.
Yeah.
They came here, they gave up so much. None of my siblings, for whatever reason, I don't hold it against them. Didn't take that next step, so it was on me.
I could get onto that one, because for us men, like, it's not the attempt, is the stoppage of it, the fear of not continuing to be great, in the field that we choose.
Right, and I don't even think it's the field that we choose. I think in everything, right? You want to be a good dad, right? I'm a dad. You're a dad. You want to try to be a good partner. You be good at your job, good at providing. There's always this fear of failure, right? I'm realizing now how debilitating that could be. I hate that it's taken me this long to figure that out. But I think as men, there's always been this pressure of you have to do this, and you have to do it this way.
Yeah.
Right. You can't ask for help, which as I say it, it's just like sounds stupid. Like, yeah, you should be able to ask for help. But I'm slightly old, slightly different generation than you are, right? So and I say that because like my parents did the best they could.
Yeah.
Right. But in that process, there was a lot of, how can I put it?
You pick yourself up by the bootstraps. You figure it out.
Oh,
right?
100%.
And yeah, you should be able to do that. But there's never that ability to ask for help. Either partly you didn't know you should. You didn't feel like you could. And then when you do go to that other academic level,
sometimes you don't have anyone to ask.
Oh yeah.
Like who was I gonna go to? My siblings? I couldn't. My dad? I couldn't. They didn't understand what it was to be in that classroom. I tell people the most annoying thing I would be told by my brother specifically, school's easy for you. It's hard. It's hard. I think a big part of it for me is having a partner who picks up a lot of the slack. Right? I'm not gonna lie. Like my day, I leave my house at 6:15 in the morning. On a good morning, I am able to get the girls' bags ready, put them in the car, hopefully get the baby showered and dressed. Like on a good day, right? Then my wife has to do everything else, and I mean everything else, right? Drop off, getting them in the car, all those little things that we don't think add up. They add up.
Yeah.
And on a good day, I'm not gonna home till 6 p.m. It's a long day. So I think that for me, it starts like, yeah, having a partner that like is able to pick up a lot of the slack. I hate to put it that way, but there's a lot of that you cannot do on a daily basis. On the flip side, it also to me means that when you are able to be present in something that I have to be better at, right?
right? To be present. Like yeah, when you get home, but even like on the weekends, right? For me on the weekends, I'm the one that takes them to other things. Like my wife does enough already during the week. So my kids have gymnastics or baby gymnastics. I'm taking them. It's doing those things, right? Even just like when you can pick up the slack, to pick it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the other part of balance, and I'm not saying because I work here and we're here now. You need to be at a place where they understand. You know what I mean? Like, hey, my kid is sick. I can't be in. You're gonna get one of two responses. Okay, I understand, or okay, I understand. Right? Same words,
Different tone.
different tone.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're at a place where they don't understand that, it's. I'll take it back. I'll take it way back. When you were a student here.
Right?
I'm not gonna name names, but
it's okay.
I'll say this: I loved our first principal, right? But the man was he was addicted to work.
Oh yeah, workaholic. Got it.
That's the word I was looking for. Workaholic. And as a result, sometimes you wouldn't take time off because, well, he's not taking time off, but I'm not taking time off. Sometimes I meant for driving in shitty weather.
But it also translated into like, and I didn't have kids at the time.
Yeah.
But I know I wouldn't have felt comfortable being like, hey, my kid's sick. I'm sure they wouldn't have said anything, right?
Yeah.
But I could see it. I don't know if at once, that email was read or phone was hung up, if the
It was the same. Does that make sense? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I know. I understand. It's just like a study in Yale regarding of like high performers. High performers increase your productivity by 35%. And like if you be surrounded by that, I feel like I need to work.
But there's a detriment to it, right?
But there's limits to that. Yeah.
It reminds me of this.
There was this woman who she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
She was CEO of her company.
Mm-hmm.
Had the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And was back in 2 weeks, right?
Ooh.
And I remember the article being like, it was, one was just like, oh, people going like, wow, how, and she's like, this is my business, blah, blah, blah. But the flip side that a lot of people were saying like, yeah, this is your business. But they're like, what message are you sending to your other employees?
Yeah.
Right?
Work is more important than family. Yeah.
And she, I think, I don't remember. I don't remember what her reaction was, to be honest with you. But it's like, oh, right. And even with him, right? I remember when he had his kids, he took 2 days off, and there was a sentiment amongst some of my male coworkers at the time of like, you don't take time. Like, well, when I guess I'm not going to take my 2 weeks. I know for a fact that one person took 2 weeks off, and they weren't thrilled about it. Right. So it's like, what are you? That's the baseline. Your baseline was your boss.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of balance I don't think people think about. Do you have an understanding, management, right? In this case, school.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, current administration's understanding. The past administrations have been understanding, and it's because they have kids. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a big one when people don't have kids. Sometimes they don't understand. But it's hard. You have to have a partner. The partner is the big one, and then you doing your part.
Yeah.
When you are there.
Okay.
And present when you're home. Present on the weekends. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking some like slack off your wife.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
I hate when dudes go like, "Oh, I've never changed a diaper in my life." Like, that's something you should be proud of.
No, those are important. I agree. Like even for me, I try to make sure I do as much as I can, so she don't have to feel the workload. I'm like, hey, can you put the baby to bed? Can you do this for me? I was like, oh nah, it's already done. I got it. I'm on top of it. But speaking of which, of family, you have this distinct glow when you talk about your partner. Like it seemed of great importance and pride of it.
Yes. I mean, look, my and I do have to go into a few.
Yes.
So my wife is a doctor of education.
Doctor.
She got this. I mean, she's had it for about 4 or 5 years, but I also saw how much work it went into it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only how much work she went to it, like the sacrifice she had to put into it, writing her dissertation, while we had the first one, she was so little. She has her own business with the other women of color.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard to not be impressed by what she does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I speak of her highly because not just because of like her professional competence, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen her blossom into like a hell of a mom too, right? I say to her, I'm always surprised by like what she's able to do on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was away. She went to Florida this past weekend, and this past weekend, like it was exhausting with the 2 girls, right? I think on Saturday I knocked out at Jesus Christ 9:30.
Oh,
it's a Saturday, you know what I mean? But I was exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
But I see, it's impressive to see what. Not that what she can do, like, I never had a doubt what she can do, but it's just like, how can you not? And I have 2 daughters. So I've always thought and I've said to my girls, like, the best thing you guys have is you have a hell of a mom as a role model, right? Academically, on a personal level. Not just her, like, they have my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law. I think that's just super important. You know what I mean? It's but yeah, I think she's great. And from a mental health aspect, for me, like at this age, it's learning to appreciate that more. I know I haven't done a good job of that. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we take things for granted. I think sometimes we think like, well, this is part of quote unquote parenthood. And you sometimes get stuck in a certain emotion or a certain pattern. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It's like, well, okay, she doesn't pick up, but then you don't realize, like, yeah, that shit's taxing them at the end of the day. So, and even just appreciating those little things. Yeah, she does it on a daily basis because, for whatever reason, yes, her schedule allows it, mine doesn't, right?
Yeah.
But I should still appreciate the fact that she can do it. Because if she couldn't do it, then I couldn't work here. You know what I mean? If she couldn't drop them off in the morning, I couldn't work here.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
We definitely gotta continue it. I just gotta
yeah. I was gonna give a conclusion question for your final thoughts. And then, like, you know, you're a very big advocate, for mental health.
Yeah.
So, closing question. What advice would you give other men who may be struggling with their mental health but are hesitant to get help?
Easy.
Two main things. Seek therapy. Absolutely. But, and I say this from experience, if you're going to seek therapy, then you need to be sure that you're ready to be 100% open and vulnerable about what's actually at hand.
Okay.
And I say that because, like, I just restarted therapy, and with my previous therapist, I always knew there was these things that would bother me, like, but I would get to like the ledge, not even to the ledge. I'd get here, but I would never let myself go to the edge. I would stop myself because I didn't want to confront those things. You know what I mean? So if you're not willing to confront those things, like, I don't want to say therapy was a waste because it's helping me now, like with that previous therapist. But I shortchanged myself, right? And then I also shortchanged my family. That's the big one. So yes, do therapy, but you have to be willing to have the hard conversations. If you're not willing to have the hard conversations, then you're wasting your time. So that would be my advice.
That concludes today's episode. If you enjoyed, please leave a comment below. Follow Not For Nothing Podcast on Instagram. Subscribe to YouTube. Please leave a comment. I'll leave the description below to donate to his cause, to allow you to help him get more supplies for the students. Please let me know how I can improve. It's just only up from here, baby. Peace.